Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So as you can see, today's video is about what I wish I knew before I joined the military. So jumping right in. So the first thing I wish I knew is just about the other branches, the Navy, Marines, Army, Air Force, just in general. Before joining, I didn't know anything about the military. And as any other civilian, you would think like, oh, they're going to be fighting in all these wars. That's not something I want to do. So when they used to come to my high school and they used to come to my job all the time, I was like, no, like this is not something I want to do. And I felt like at the time we're gassing it up more than what it actually was. But every branch is not for every person. So please do your research on that. A lot of branches offer really good opportunities as well. I like the Air Force. I like to do a lot of admin work, so it just seemed right for me. The next thing I would say is do research on the enlistments. So there is a 4-year and then a 6-year enlistment. So for 6 years, you get to be a A1C, E3, straight out of tech school, which means you make more money. So usually when you see a recruiter, they like to push the 6-year over the 4-year because they're like, hey, like you can get in and you could be making X, Y, and Z. You get to put this rank on right after you graduate tech school. You get to promote faster, which is true. But I joined in a 4-year enlistment and I made staff before some 6 years, but that just depends entirely up to your studying habits, working, etc. So once you are closer to you shipping out for BMT, your recruiter is going to ask you, hey, are you sure you don't want to do a 6-year? You have the option to say no. When you get to MEPS, they're going to ask you, do you want to do a 6-year? You can still say no. And your last MEP thing, I think when you're finalizing your paperwork, they're going to ask you one more time. So if you do feel like you want to just do that 6 years, you can. But if you feel like you want to do the 4 years, you can still get promoted. You still make money. It's going to take a little bit, a couple months to probably get to A1C, and then about 2 years to get to senior airman if you do BTZ and so forth. So it's basically like the same opportunities. I wasn't so eager to make all the money right away because I was already skeptical coming in, and I was just like, I don't think the military is going to be, I guess, a career for me. So I was just like, let me just do 4 years, test it out, and then go from there. Next is to do your research on your jobs that you are eligible for. And then just know, like, let's say you went in open general, open admin, you do not have to take the job your recruiter offers you. So in my situation, I went in open admin because I really wanted to be a personnelist, and now I'm supply. So see how that worked out. But during that time, my recruiter would call. So I was in debt for a whole year. About that time, my recruiter would call and be like, hey, like I got this job for you. Usually it was security forces. And he would try to not saying security forces is a bad job, but that's just not something I wanted to do. He'd be like, hey, like I knew this girl who went through and she loves it now. And I'm just like, oh no, thank you. Like, I don't want that job. I'll wait. Like a dummy, he called me one day and he was like, hey, this pharmacy job opened up. It leaves in 2 days. Like, are you ready? And I was so stupid. I was just like, no, like, I'm not mentally ready. Like, that's so fast. And now being in for a few years now, I'm just like, now, why would you pass up pharmacy? That just seems like such a cool job, like medical. But as I was saying, please do your research on all the jobs. A lot of times people say you want a job that's going to transfer on to the civilian life if you do end up getting out. But you can always cross-train. You don't have to be stuck in that job forever. If you're eligible to cross-train, commission, just do whatever you can if you really don't like your job. So a big thing people ask me is you do not have to have any prior military knowledge when you join. Even for tech school and your job, they're going to teach you everything you need to know, like from start to end. you're going to take tests, you're going to review it, and then once you get to your base, like for me, tech school, I don't know, it was just going through one ear out the other. I don't know how I got like distinguished grad in that class, but once you get to your job, I have to see it. Like, you can read it to me, you can tell me all day, but if I don't see it, I'm not going to understand it. So don't be discouraged and be like, oh, like even when you're in tech school, like I just don't get it. Once you get to your base, you will understand if you're a hands-on person like me or visual. Okay, let's talk about your dream sheet. Please do not get your hopes up high. There was a lot of people I know in my tech school class who put things down because all of us really wanted to go overseas, but I think one person in our class, went to Alaska. So it's kind of overseas, still stateside though. I sadly put Nellis as my first choice because my best friend was out here and she's like, oh, come. And I'm like, yes, girl, Vegas, ooh. She ended up leaving me like a year later. So I'm still stuck out here thanks to you. But as I was saying, just please be mindful of the bases that you do put down. Usually they go from the top, and then whatever they have available, then they'll put you there. And this next thing, it just touches back earlier. You may not get the job you want. So if you go open general, there's just those chances that you could get security forces. I mean, you could get supply. Like, that just goes back to just being really cautious of what you put on your list. You cannot get anything on your list, and then you just got to pick something from there. But they try to do their best to put you where you want to go and accommodate your needs. So a big thing that I wish I knew, like this is probably the biggest thing for me, is I didn't know anything about National Guard or reservists. And a lot of people try to downplay reservists because they feel like, oh, they don't know like their job, but you only go in, was it like once or twice every weekend or something like that. But for my situation at the time, it would have been really nice for me to do reserves and then probably later on switch to active duty. But touching on the National Guard and reserve, if you feel like, you want to do it part-time, you still want to have your job, you still want to go to school, you can do that and still do reserves. So when I was about to separate last year, they gave me this form. So I'm just going to read some information off of it. It says you get 6 months free healthcare transfer without a break in service. So if you separate active duty and you go straight to reserves, you get 6 months free healthcare. You are able to cross-train opportunities for all AFCs. So let's say I'm supply now and I want to go to reserves to be a personnelist. If they have that option available, then I can do that with like no prior eligibility or anything like that. And then some of the AFSC gets bonuses and incentives. You are able to use TA still, tuition assistance, and your GI Bill. They do have full-time reserve options or part-time reserve options. They just try to accommodate you, like I said, the best they can. And then you get reimbursed travel for select AFSCs. So most of the information I am going to be talking about throughout this video is going to be in the description bar below with some links just to help you guys out, understand it more. And then National Guard, you can be activated up to 1, 2, 3 years, just depending. And it's kind of like reservists as far as pay. You get paid for drill pay. And let's just say you're E5, Staff Sergeant rank. Drill pay will be around $348 a month, annual around $4,000, and then let's say you're coming E1, like no stripes, it's around $208 or so, like that, for drill training. So like I said, it's an option for you guys if you're not aware with that. So this is another big thing. Like, let's say you went to college, you got your 4 years, and then you want to join the military. So you do have the option to do OTS, Officer Training School, and it's a 12-week program, kind of like BMT, but really different. Or like learning how to be leaders in your sections and so on. And then lastly, free school to a certain dollar amount. So you get TA, they just raised it back, I think last year, $4,500. please take advantage of that TA, guys. Please take advantage of that TA. Like, as soon as I was done with my CDCs, I went into school. At first, I was so against it. I'm like school, no. But it's free. I'm going to get a degree for free. Now I have like 6 classes left. Not that bad at all. But I hope this video helped you guys out. This was just some things I wish I knew before joining, but there's a whole lot of other videos on what other people wish they knew. I would suggest you checking them out. Also, just to give different viewpoints and opinions from other people in the military or those who got out in the military. The next video I am going to do is about education. It's going to be pretty good. Just touching more about TA, AF Cool, all the fun stuff, like how to get started. So yeah, that is all I have. If you have any questions, I always tell you guys, please leave a comment underneath the video. And I'm usually pretty quick at responding. So whatever questions you guys have, please feel free. See you guys.